Yasas, week 3 started pretty slow with just a little nacho table. We all shared it. It was really delicious. But then the next night we went out to this dinner. It started raining, so all these restaurants had this awning that pulls over you, which is really nice. We got these churros that accompanied one of the best tacos I've ever had in my whole life. They cut it in front of us with this little knife here. It was really fun. But it was downpouring when we walked back home, which was really strange, so we kind of ran. The next day, I volunteered at the workshop center where Liz and Gretel do a little yoga workshop, so I walked back with them. This is one of my favorite little areas to walk back through because there's a little archaeological site behind that fence and a fountain behind that, and it's just really pretty. We got some gelato before we got our to-go pasta, which is one of our favorite places so far. Liz and I also stopped at a coffee shop to work on our homework and get some things done. I am, as always, working on Connect Center stuff, preparing for orientation weekend, which is always great. Athens in itself is very, very walkable, which is so nice because I try to walk to the refugee center as much as possible, which lets me see a lot of great things like the square. That night, I was just working on my PowerPoints for orientation weekend when Liz started banging on the door, and I was like, what the heck happened? She's like, hey, I fell on the stairs. I'm bleeding really bad. I think I need to go get stitches. So we hopped on the metro and went to an ER where I patiently waited in the waiting room while she got some stitches, got all cleaned up and whatnot. We were able to immediately pick up her prescription, which was so nice, even though it was 9 p.m. at this point. And we celebrated our safe return with some euros in the square. The next day, Addie and I made our way to a little bookstore because I said, why not start reading while we're here? And on our walk back, we found this beautiful little area with an orange tree and a fountain, and it's right behind the University of Athens, which was all just so beautiful. There was this weird organization happening outside of our apartment that night, which was interesting. But we finally walked around the Plaka area, which was amazing. And of course, cats absolutely everywhere. Some of them are so friendly and nice and will come up to you and say hi. The next morning, Addie, Liz, and I started our adventure to Paros. We woke up at 5 a.m. so we could catch our ferry on time. We went down to the metro so it could take us to the port of Paros where we could catch our ferry. Luckily enough, when we got out of the metro station, our boat was literally right there, so it was super easy to board. And we just walked right on and got to our seats, and while we were sitting waiting to depart, our boat was on TV because it's a holiday weekend, so basically everyone's traveling. Once we left, we said goodbye to the port of Piraeus and started our 4-hour-long journey to Paros. It was really early, so almost everyone on the boat was sleeping, and you get to see some of these amazing views as you go through nothing but this beautiful, beautiful water. We finally docked in Paros and made our way off the boat, and there were so many people. It was insane. But then we started making our way to the place we were staying for the weekend. Everything was right by the water, so it was beautiful. There was the stark contrast of the whitewashed blue buildings versus this farm area that we were staying in. But this is where we were at. This is the Nine Muses. It was such a nice place. This guy sat us down when we first got there, and he's like, let's plan your weekend here. And I was like, thank God, because we didn't really have a plan going in. But this is the place we stayed at. It had a nice little porch area. It was super small, but it worked perfect for what we needed. I was on this little bed over here. There's a bunch of just little knickknacks and stuff. It felt very homey. It was perfect for just a long weekend away. The weirdest thing though is that the shower didn't have a door, so we had no idea how we were supposed to shower without getting water all over the floor. But the best part of this stay was that this mama and her kittens lived right outside our door, and they were the sweetest little things in the world. We played with them all the time. It was the best. Anytime we could get food by the water, we did, so we stopped here for our first lunch, and just listen to this. After lunch, we did a little bit of shopping. This store sold a bunch of Crocs, which was great, and then we saw some calamari and some whole shrimp next to the sunset, which was absolutely beautiful. Then we walked around the city a little bit after dinner, and just listen to this. The cats are always fighting, and we hear it all the time at night in Athens. When we got back to our place, we saw this well with the disco light in it, which was fun. And since Liz got stitches earlier this week, every time she showered or got in water, she had to wrap it in saran wrap. So that was always fun to watch her do. But of course, we had to watch Mamma Mia while we were on the island. And the next day we were greeted with some beautiful weather. This is the little view of the area around the place we were staying, which was just stunning. But like I said, we were in near like the farm area, so here's some goats and chickens and stuff that were next to us. The best way to get around on the island is by bus. These were amazing. They took us everywhere we needed to go. So this bus is taking us to Nausa, a little town up north. It's a little fishing town. And the drive is always beautiful because we're on an island. What's not stunning to look at? We started our day obviously at the beach because you needed to get those sun rays and just soak up the sun. And then we went down to the port area where all of the boats were docked, and it was amazing. Addie found this cool little fort that was built to protect the island from pirates. So we made our way down the little walkway to this fort, and inside the fort, it was gorgeous. You could tell it was very old. And beautifully crafted, like it was amazing. But then you get to see one I think is one of the best views of the island. Like, look at this, absolutely stunning, love it. And then we got dinner again by the seaside, by the port with the sunset. Really can't get any better than this. It was so amazing. So the church had speakers on the outside, so you just heard the sermon that was happening on Sunday. But that day we boarded a boat to Antiparos. All of the cars had to back in, which seemed super stressful to me, but everyone did amazing. And then we took the boat over. You can see in the distance some windsurfers, which was really cool to watch. It's a very common activity in Paros that we didn't partake in, but it looked really cool. Then we boarded on the bus, and then we had to switch buses, and it was a lot of confusion because it was weird. But we took the bus to the cave of Antiparos, which was really, really cool. And it is 411 steps down. So we started our descent, and we surprisingly got to the bottom before we knew it. And this is the view from the very bottom of the cave. It pretty much just goes straight down, but it was so stunning and beautiful and really fun to be in. And then we had to start climbing our way back up, which was really an experience to say the least. Going down 400 stairs and then back up 400 stairs was not my favorite thing in the world, but it was really worth it to see all of these stalagmites and stalactites and all the formations there. But this is us right after we came back up, out of breath, sweaty because the cave was unbelievably humid, and those are all the stairs we had to climb. Since the cave basically goes straight down, we obviously had to get really high to go down into it. So this is the view from on top of the cave, absolutely stunning. But then we just took our ferry back to the mainland of Paros, where we had to catch a bus right in the nick of time. That is our bus right there, us just begging that it's gonna stay for us to get on after we get off of the ferry. But luckily we made it. This was the bus that was going to take us back to where we were staying, and the next bus wasn't for an hour. So we're very lucky that we caught it. Like I said, in the farm area, chickens everywhere. And then we went out to our last dinner. It was so beautiful. Another amazing sunset on the water. Our waiter gave us shots of a local something, and it was not good, as you can tell by our faces, but we had to end the night by playing with our little kitten friends. This is Gremlin and Gracie that we've so affectionately named them. They were so friendly and nice and cute and small, and I just am obsessed with them. I love them so much. And then there was this other little kitten who was even smaller, and I love them with my whole heart. So we left the island on Monday morning because it was a holiday, so we didn't have class or anything to do. So we said goodbye to the place we were staying. We made our way down to the port and waited for our boat. Everyone had to wait for their boat, so it was super crowded. I will always be amazed by how many people were on this island at one time. But then we boarded, and we booked these tickets, I guess I would say last minute, because it was only a week and a half ago that we booked them. So all of the economy seating was gone, so we had to rent a cabin, which ended up being really nice because we get a 50% student discount, so it really wasn't even more expensive than it would have been. But so we got in our little cabin. We all got our own teeny tiny little bed. It was super crammed. We all took some good naps, but once we got to the port of Paros, they made us go out of our room, so we just had to sit on the floor. But eventually, we got back to Paros, got onto the metro, went back to our apartment in Athens, and called it a day, because traveling's a lot.